Okay, for this video, I'm going to show you how to plan out and organize a body paragraph. So we're going to be using the play A Midsummer's Night Dream by William Shakespeare. So I just want to show you my legend so you understand how I've coded the elements of the paragraph. So in pink, we have the topic sentence. In blue, we have the points. In red, the proofs. Black, the explanation. And green are the conclusions. So we're using an expository paragraph model for a body paragraph. So that's the point, proof, explanation model. And so we're going to start with our topic sentence. So your topic sentence should touch on the theme of the essay and reflect back on the thesis. So it's a way that we are connecting all of the pieces and components of our essay back to that thesis statement. The thesis statement is the most important element. So if I'm choosing the essay topic that's about reason and love keep little company together nowadays, a good topic to explore would be this idea that love and logic do not always go together. So I want to have 3 points, 3 proofs, and 3 explanations in my body paragraph. So they all have to relate to this topic that love and logic do not always go together. So my first point is going to be about Bottom and Titania and his confusion over why she is like professing love for him, right? He's an actor and she's the queen of the fairies. And so he's confused when she says, "Thou art as wise as thou art beautiful." And this is ironic, and that's what I want to explain here, that this is ironic because Bottom is an ass. And I've just underlined it here to remind myself to emphasize that he's literally an ass. He's been transformed into a man with a donkey head. He's not very clever. We know from his interactions with the other actors, the other mechanicals, that he's completely full of himself and arrogant. So this statement, "thou art as wise as thou art beautiful," is very ironic because only Titania, who's had the magic potion put on her eyes, sees him that way. Even Bottom is questioning her perception of him, which reminds us of our topic that love and logic do not always go together. Now, my second point I want to make is about Hermia. And I'm going to use a transition word here, similarly. And so I've just underlined that as a way of reminding myself to start my sentence with a transition word. So this is going to help me create a flow in my paragraph, but it's also helping me to relate my points together. My points shouldn't seem like random selections. They need to kind of reflect some thought that I am trying to establish some sort of connection and pattern here. So similarly, Hermia is confused by Lysander, who suddenly no longer loves her. And I want to use the quote for my proof from Act 3, Scene 2, when she says to him, "You speak not as you think." Okay, so she's confused because Lysander wakes up and he's in love with Helena now, not her. And she knows his mind is different from his heart. And the words that he is saying about Helena and the words that he's saying about Hermia is not the way he truly thinks or feels. Right? And this is what I'm going to explain afterwards, is this astonishment is because of his logic-defying change of heart. And the use of logic is really deliberate there in my explanation because it's going to link back to my topic sentence. Now, my third point, I've got the word finally, another transition, and this is going to also signal to the reader that I'm coming to the end of my paragraph. So finally, Theseus is skeptical of new love arrangements of the 4 lovers. So when they all come back to Athens to be married, they've all kind of swapped partners in a sense. And so Theseus is skeptical of this new arrangement. And he tells them, lovers and madmen have such seething brains. So again, he's comparing the mind of a person in love to a madman, which is related to this idea that love and logic do not always go together. And so what I want to explain after I use this quotation is that when Demetrius, Helena, Hermia, and Lysander return to Athens, Helena will marry Demetrius and Hermia will marry Lysander. And then I'll explain further how that's a swap, because it was supposed to be Demetrius marrying Hermia, and now he's marrying Helena instead. So I'm going to use this as a way of showing that we've switched. And now I need a conclusion to... So lastly, we have a concluding sentence. So we have to wrap up our paragraph. And sometimes students think that this sentence needs to be a summary of the paragraph, but it really shouldn't. What you're doing here is just sort of connecting the dots between your points and linking it back to your thesis and the topic of the paragraph itself. So if I'm saying that love and logic do not always go together, and I'm using the examples from the play of Bottom and Titania, Hermia and Lysander, and Demetrius and Helena, then I want to mention them in my conclusion as examples of love and logic not going together. So Demetrius and Lysander flip-flop on their affections, and Helena, Hermia, and I should add in Titania, ride an emotional roller coaster throughout the play A Midsummer's Night Dream. So we want to add in those elements just to tie all these points back together and link things back to the topic of the paragraph and to the thesis. So you'll notice that I have a proof from the play. So I'm using quotes for each of my proof. So if you have 3 paragraphs in the body of your essay, you should have 3 points in each paragraph and 3 proofs to support that. So you would need a total of 9 quotes. And they don't have to be direct quotations from the play like I've used in my example. You can paraphrase, but if you're paraphrasing or if you're quoting, you should include a citation. So we know exactly what part of the play the quote or the paraphrased passage comes from. Thanks.